Well, maybe you have heard about quiet quitting, performing the bare minimum of work. Well, now there's apparently grumpy staying. In this tightening job market, workers are staying put in jobs that they don't like. Insider's Juliana Kaplan joins us now to talk about this phenomenon. Hi, Julia. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, you're still working, so that's a good start. We're off to a good start. This is
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? Because I feel like now it's like everything new is everything old is new again. You have people that just really aren't happy in their current situation. So why is it that people are not quitting now? What's keeping them on the job, even if they're not thrilled about it?
Yeah, so it's sort of a contrast to what we've seen in the last few years, where the Great Resignation gave people a little bit of leverage, right, to hop around and ask for better. But as we've seen the labor market cool off, particularly across sort of like knowledge work jobs, jobs like mine, where you sit at a computer for a lot of the day, for instance, that's no longer as much of a possibility to hop from job to job, right? And because of that, people don't feel like they are able to leave. They've seen their companies do layoffs, for instance, which is something that we've seen throughout several industries. And because of all of those factors, even if they would like to leave, it's just not happening for them.
So the last couple of years, it seemed like the advantage had kind of swung to the workers, right? And they easily had that position where they were like, hey, listen, if I don't like the job conditions or whatever you're imposing on me, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go work for someone else or work somewhere else. It seems now like maybe that momentum is swinging back to the employer. But if that is the case, should the employers be worried that you have people that are essentially working but not really feeling it? Is that a concern as far as productivity?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say I think it is a concern because, you still don't want to have a lot of people who are disengaged and unhappy. And the grumpy stayers I've talked to, too, don't say that they necessarily have to hate their jobs. Like, there are things that would make it much better and easier. And that could be things like having employers who listen to them when they say they want to take on new responsibilities and tasks. But those employers are busy retaining other people or trying to figure out how to navigate this labor market, right? And I would say it's probably a bit of a drag on your business to have a bunch of people who are actively unhappy. And a lot of employers also say they care a lot about culture and happiness these days, and having, a whole subgroup of people who don't really want to be there anymore doesn't necessarily speak well to that, right?
So absolutely. So what do you see as the next chapter then? If we went from people who were, look, you started with the Great Resignation, right? And then you had people who were quiet quitting. And now if you have people who are like, I'm not ready to leave my job, I just kind of wish it was a little bit better. What do you think the next step is? Do you think people will stay on board, or do you think we'll see another migration out of the workforce?
That is a great question. And I might give you a cop-out answer, which is that we have not really been able to predict anything that's happened over the last couple of years. I think in an ideal world, as we sort of settle into this new, more stable labor market, like we just saw a jobs report that was good, but not as crazy as everything else that we've been seeing, right? And we enter maybe into this new stability, or I hate the term new normal, but new normal of the labor market, and realize that maybe things aren't going to shift around as much. Hopefully employers could perhaps shift their focus to the people who are there and figure out how to make the most of that, because they're not going to be doing this crazy hiring or dealing with this crazy migration anymore.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right as far as what's normal anymore. It seems like the only normalcy is the constant change that we've been dealing with the last couple of years. So you're absolutely right. We'll see where we go from here, but hopefully it maintains a good, strong job force, but everybody's happy in their current positions as well. Julia, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Insider's Julia Kaplan breaking down the latest when it comes to the job market.